We're on, like right now?
We just did it. You just heard
Sneaked it in.
the introduction music. Welcome to episode 7. Lucky number 11.
Ooh, next is going to be Ocho.
Ocho.
Conscious Guys, the Ocho.
Is that a thing?
It will be. People are going to be anticipating.
Why am I over here? We need to have more of your broad shoulders in this picture. How's your workouts going?
I didn't work out this morning.
Why not?
Because
Do you think your pooch is gone? Because I still see it.
No, my pooch is not gone for sure. No, Karen, I got a new shirt too, and it just accentuates my
Your pooch?
my belly.
Why? Because it's a little tighter.
It is a little tighter.
Did you just got another gray shirt though, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Are you part of the the Zuckerberg and who's the other guy? There's a couple of those guys that they only have one article of clothing because they want to minimize the amount of choices that they have to make in the day?
No, that's not why.
No?
No.
Why do you only have one color shirt?
Because I look for shirts that are comfortable to me, and I find it very difficult to find something that is long enough to cover my body and my pooch, and also not pin into my armpits and make myself really uncomfortable. And also, like, I don't know, there's just a lot of shitty shirts out there. So when I find something I like, I just keep buying it.
Even if it's just the same shirt over and over again?
Yeah.
That's cool. All right.
I don't know.
I just wear the same thing. I just don't buy new clothes.
Yeah, this is like, what, 15, 20 years old now?
Yeah, the 10.
It's
not 15 or 20, it's 10, Andy. My boxers are 15 or 20 years old. we're looking, we talked about it last time. So we're looking for a nanny. Well, yeah. It may not even be a nanny. Right now, we're changing it from a nanny because we don't want anybody to take care of Grace yet. Cassie still wants to take care of Grace essentially full time. But we're thinking maybe if we got some other house help, so maybe if they cook a couple meals and like they clean the kitchen or do our laundry, like then it'll open up some more space so that Cassie can get more back into work because she wants to get more back into work. And as we're thinking about this, I'm doing laundry and I literally, I don't think it's the boxers that I have on right now, but literally there's 2 sets of boxers that I am fairly certain they're from high school, which would put it at 15 years or so. And where like the top elastic band and it's held on only really in the front because the back isn't held on to the rest of the fabric. And then there's just holes in the crotch of it. But so it's really funny. Whenever I'm like throwing it into the washing machine, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why am I washing this? And then when I take them out and I'm like folding and putting away clothes, I have the thought of, yeah, but it does its job.
Keeps the skid marks out of your pants?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
Catches everything it needs to catch. Yeah.
So you have like just standard boxers, or do you do like boxer briefs?
I have both.
You have both.
I think, well, what's happening is there's a transition to boxer briefs, but I don't get rid of stuff that's still able to be used. So I still have boxers. There's some boxers where so my waist is like a 31. There's some of the.
You and Seinfeld. Nice. Way to go.
Is he at 31 too?
Yeah, there was a whole episode about it.
Was that an episode?
Yeah.
I don't remember it. So my waist is 31. And I'm pretty sure there's no elasticity left in it, and like the size is like a 38. So they don't. If I pull them up, they don't stay on.
Do you have a special belt for these?
Well, no, I have to put like jeans or pants on. Right on afterwards. I'll put them on. They drop down, and then I put my pants on, and then they hold up the boxers. But those ones don't have holes in it. They just lost the elasticity. The other ones, they actually stay up, but they have a lot of holes in it.
Yeah, I do.
I blame it on my environmental, my love for the environment. It's reduce, reuse, recycle.
Reuse.
And when I say reuse, I mean reuse. That's what I mean.
Reuse over and over and over and over
and over again. Over and over again.
Until it's deteriorated and actually doesn't take any space in a landfill.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
It decomposed in my butt, in my crack.
That is beautiful. That's awesome. I'm glad you're such an environmentalist.
I wonder if I spent like another 5 more years, and it could be like 20 years, I could send in a picture to Haynes or wherever they're from and say like, like here they are. Maybe I get a lifetime supply.
Yeah.
You think they would?
Maybe. I don't know. Are they open to that kind of thing?
I don't know. I'd be open. I mean, the boxers are fairly open.
The boxers are open. Oh, fuck. All right. So
how did we get on that conversation?
You asked something about
your shirts.
My shirts.
Over and over again.
And you started talking about your underpants.
Yep.
That's great.
Why do you wear boxer briefs or boxers? Or
boxer briefs. I got rid of the straight boxers sometime in college.
Yeah, most people do. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I like the feeling of the briefs. A little tighter,
just a little
more everything. Support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels good.
Okay. Let's talk about masculinity since we're kind of on that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go that route.
Tangential to it.
Dude, I saw this post the other day. So Captain America is very what Chris Evans, right?
He's a man.
He's very boisterous on Twitter and likes to like comment on a lot of things, which I tend to be in alignment with what he has to say most of the time. And he was commenting on some other guy's comment about a picture of Daniel Craig carrying his baby on his chest in one of those, like, what is it called?
Carriers,
a baby carrier that's on the front of the person.
Yeah.
And this guy's comment about Daniel Craig was like saying that he was emasculated because he's carrying his baby that way. Like there's some masculine way to carry a child.
Yeah. Well, I definitely believe that men who cry are pussies, and that carry babies are definitely pieces of shit. No.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds a lot like you.
Yeah. If you would have seen me yesterday, you would have seen me actually crying on my walk with Grace on my in the carrier. Because I'm just looking at her like, look at how beautiful you are.
I wish I could breastfeed now.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Dude, I find it really strange, like this whole masculinity, femininity, and then this toxic masculinity stuff too. Like the labels are feeling oppressive. Like it's almost like your people are battling against an idea like masculinity, calling it toxic masculinity, and then at what point is some masculinity okay, and it crosses that toxicity line? That doesn't. I'm still confused by that. Do you have a take on it?
I mean, I'm not as in tune with what Twitter is saying about it, but I don't know. I get this idea that stuff on social media, especially things like Twitter, because it has to be done in 140 characters.
Oh, shortcutting it again.
Yeah, it's let's put an incredibly complex concept into 140 characters. Like it's impossible. Like to wear a baby is emasculating. What do you mean? Maybe there's some truth to what he's saying in some form. I don't know what the truth is. I wouldn't agree right off the bat, but the idea that we're going to be able to express our ideas of something in this short, abbreviated way, I think that's what bastardizes the whole thing about it. So I guess that's a separate topic than what you were bringing up. You were just bringing up the idea of.
We could go that route because that sounds pretty interesting.
Well, but we already talked about that, didn't we? We talk about that once. I feel like you ranted and raved about it, and I just sat there in awe and glory of your majesticness. I know what I feel inside. I just can't express it.
You gonna cry now?
Yeah, probably. Not now. Not in front of the camera. Afterwards, turn it off. No, but going to the masculinity. So I don't know. I mean, but there's a huge part of our population that does believe that crying and tears and kids and emotions, or I don't even know what else, saying what you love, um, is shows weakness of some kind. And I guess what I would say to that is it does show a vulnerability.
Is vulnerability weakness though?
Exactly the point.
Yeah.
So if you say that you love something, you're expressing a vulnerability, because if you are tying what you like to something, and then that thing is not cared about, or berated, belittled, or whatever it is, then that can be painful to the person who liked it, right? Like I like blueberries.
And Care Bears.
That's so good. That's so good. Long story, you guys don't know it, but we do.
Inside joke.
Inside joke. If you want to know about the inside joke, email Andy@productivelearning.com. Again, Andy, ANDY, @productivelearning.com. You can know the inside scoop about blueberries. But what you're doing is you're saying that I like something, and then you're putting yourself out there, which is a vulnerable move. But the feelings of being vulnerable and the feelings of being weak, I think, overlap a lot. Like the Venn diagram of those two concepts of emotions, the feelings of those two things overlap quite a bit, right? It's feeling scared, or that you could be attacked, or that the ideas of vulnerable.
So risk plays into
risk,
it, right?
would be in that. Yes, you're doing the same thing. If I'm weak, I'm at risk. I'm vulnerable. I would have to be defensive, or I'd have to be angry in order if I'm being attacked. If I'm being vulnerable, it's the same thing. I'm feeling
open to a risk,
open to being attacked, open to having my thoughts be, pushed out, or whatever it is. So I think that there's this big overlap in it. And what people do is they take one idea of I'm vulnerable by expressing my love for something, which wells in me tears of emotion. And then they're saying, oh, because that feels similar to this other idea of weakness. Weakness is maybe a simpler concept, and so now we're just going to put you down as weak.
Yeah,
for
sure.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like when you said people are pussies for carrying their child. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of weird, like the whole the difference between masculinity and femininity. That I think it's been so bastardized, and so I just don't think people understand what femininity really is versus what masculinity really is. And there's so much conversation lately about it. But like I saw this post, I got so many thoughts running in my head. I'm sorry if I'm jumping all over the place.
Hit me.
But I saw this post. I really didn't like it, because what it said was men who are afraid to show their feminine side are really are basically bullies, because they're afraid to show. Well, what does it say? How did it fucking go? Now I don't even remember. But basically it was just a bullshit shortcut post about masculine men who say something out against femininity are really just afraid to show their own femininity. And I'm afraid to show my femininity, not because I don't think it's great, but sometimes in certain company, I feel threatened to let my feminine side show, my creative side show, my excitement or my sadness or whatever people might associate with being a little more feminine rather than masculine. And so being bullied is what I'm afraid of, because I don't think I'm strong enough sometimes, or I'm safe enough to just be who I am. And then being labeled masculine or feminine kind of has its own kind of connotation. Oh, now I've got to play in one box or the other, or both boxes, or open that up. And I'm like, what does it even mean? Like, So for me, as I'm trying to define, you know, how do I show up as a man? How do I show up with what does feminine side look like? Because I think we all have bits and pieces of that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I hear is sometimes, like, I think you've even stated this, like, masculine is more of a doer and a pusher, and a woman is more of a feminine side is more of a receiving and more creative and fostering or nurturing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we all have components of those,
Mm-hmm.
and then we label them masculine or feminine. And then on top of that, we say that a woman should display some of these and a man should display some of these and not other ones. And then it just gets fucked up at that point.
Right. It'll be really interesting if we could take away just the word of masculine and feminine,
mm-hmm.
and like inserted a different word. So masculine, now we're going to call it blue. So you're the blue, or feminine is green. Mm-hmm. So are you more green or are you more blue? But they're on a spectrum. You've got some green and you've got some blue. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not about boys and girls.
Yeah.
It's about the characteristics of being, are you a little bit more blue or are you a little bit more green? You've got both of them. You've got both components within you. Everybody caretakes in some capacity, and everyone's is a productive doer, hunter, person. So, but in what ways and how is it expressed is going to be different. But because this masculine and feminine has now similarly been labeled with or connected, it's like that same idea of the Venn diagram: risk versus, or vulnerability. What do we say? Vulnerability and weakness, because the emotional components of those two ideas are so overlapping and similar. Yeah. It's like 9 out of 10 are almost the same emotions. People are putting the idea of female or feminine and woman or female, yes, because they as a stereotype and in general do biologically have more tendencies in this way, and men biologically have more tendencies in this way, but we label it as it's a male thing versus a female thing, as opposed to masculine or feminine. That would be really interesting if we could take away the connotation by changing the label of what it was.
I think that would confuse a lot of people.
Yeah, good. They need to be confused.
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting? So we talked about this, I think, before. Darren Brown, the mentalist, the psychological mentalist guy, and he's a bit of magic and a bit of whatnot. It's also part of NLP training, which he is like an NLP wizard, which is how he gets you to think certain things, and then all of a sudden you're like going to commit murder, which is part of the thing.
That was a trippy fucking show, dude.
Did you watch it?
I did. It was so fucking trippy.
Holy cow. Watch The Push, people.
Yeah.
Push by Darren Brown.
Ooh.
Did you watch any of his other stuff yet?
I watched one of the other ones. I can't remember what it was.
Miracle? I think it's Miracle.
I think that was the one I saw.
That's the one with the racist. He doesn't like Mexicans, and then he no, that's called Sacrifice. That one's called Sacrifice.
I didn't watch that one.
Okay. Sacrifice is with this this overt racist Floridian who doesn't like Mexicans, and they tell you this in the opening premise, so I'm not giving anything away. He sacrifices his life. He takes a bullet for an unknown illegal immigrant.
Did see that one.
That one is crazy.
Amazing.
Holy cow.
Yeah. How he got there though.
Oh.
Like all of the shifts or the changes or the transformation that he would have to go through. So and you see it, like the sincerity and the authenticity is just apparent in the fucking thing. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah. But so what he's doing, part of what he does, part of what Darren Brown does, and why I'm bringing this back to what your statement of that would confuse people, is in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, part of what you are doing, and another example of this is like when people are able to be put into hypnosis, into a hypnotic state, and those ones where like they're gonna go shake the person's hand and they say sleep, and like they didn't even do anything. They said they were shaking his hand. Part of what I've heard him explain is the way in which we think, we have a stimulus that happens and our brain pulls from all kinds of historical information, and it's making a prediction as to what's the next event that's going to happen, what's the next event that's going to happen, what's the next event. So when somebody extends their right hand, your mind immediately says they're going to go shake my hand. So now I know what to do. I put my shoulder up, my arm out, my hand out, and I'm going to go from up to down and back up again a couple of times and squeeze slightly. Like that is what your mind is trained to do.
Mm-hmm.
And what he talks about is when you're wanting to shift somebody's state of consciousness, you trigger what would be a cascade of normal events, but somewhere in the midst of it, you abruptly change direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what he does. He also can, there's a lot more to it. He can tell by the way in which your eyes react to certain questions and whatnot, and certain kind of, he can assume the kind of thinking that you're having. But essentially what he does in a lot of those cases where you see hypnotists like go in for a handshake is they abruptly change something, and the person goes, their mind goes into a state of shock and confusion, where they become very susceptible to influence. And so when they're open and susceptible to being influenced, he then inserts an intention or a direction, sleep, or you want to do this. And then all of a sudden they're saying, I want to go and cluck like a chicken, or whatever it is, right? So if we take that NLP concept and what Darren Brown's amazing at, what Tony Robbins is amazing at, what all these other NLP practitioners are amazing at, and we did that with the idea of masculinity and femininity, and all of a sudden we just said, we're going to call it green and blue, and it would confuse the shit out of people.
They'd be susceptible.
They'd be open and susceptible to having something be inserted as to, well, what do I do now? Blue is just these kinds of characteristics, and green is these kinds of characteristics. And I'm going to pick which ones I'm, the top 10 that I am, and I'll pick 4 of these and 6 of these. And so now I see that I'm this combination of blue and green.
Nice.
That's how we would have to do it.
We just solved the problems of the world. We could do that across the board.
Dude. Wasn't it in Batman?
Probably.
Batman with
Dude, that gnat loves your face.
I know, he's like right around me. With Jack Nicklaus. When, or was it him? Or was it the Jim Carrey Joker one? I don't remember. Where they put like the suction cup on the people's heads, and then they would like get like the TV. It was like the TV antenna. Which one was that?
I don't remember.
Do you remember? It was one of the Batmans.
It was one of the early Batmans.
Yeah, it was one of the early Batmans.
Yeah.
So we just have to get one of those little suction cup TV antennas and stick it on everybody's head. And so we would have to partner with Netflix, because everybody has Netflix. We just tell Netflix we have to stick it on everybody's head, and then they would watch that, and then we'd confuse them, and then we'd insert the idea of blue and green.
Okay.
For the ideas of masculinity and femininity.
Yeah, we should totally do that. We'll get the producers of that movie and to help us out.
And we can get Keaton, what's his name?
Michael Keaton?
Yeah, we'll get Michael Keaton to do a promotional commercial on it. And so he says, don't be afraid of the suction cup coming to your house, kids. Just, Batman says, stick it on your forehead.
That'd be weird.
Tuesdays at 4. And first it'll just be a Bob Ross. I got it. First it'll just be a Bob Ross like TV episode. So everyone's
happy
like,
little clouds.
Yeah, everyone's just happy. And then all of a sudden, boom, we'll say like, oh no, it's angry clouds. They're going to be so confused. And then we insert something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got it.
That's a great idea.
I think we just created world peace right there.
I love that idea.
Look at that.
Done.
Dink.
Dude, world peace wasn't even on our list and we solved it.
I'm going to put it on our list so we can remember world peace. If anybody has questions about how to execute that, email andy@productivelearning.com.
Just keep putting my email address out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I got my email box down to 1,980 emails.
Holy cow. Unread emails? 1,900?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How why? Why don't you just select all, delete?
Somehow it makes me feel good to know that people want my attention.
Do you think that's really what it is?
I have no idea.
Does it feel like, or do you like, what is it when you look at that number? Do you get stressed about it, or is it like, oh, I feel good. Look at me. I'm a fucking man. I got all these, like, I'm just networked out there into the world, or like, what does it do to you when you look at that 1900? Because I look at let's look at it right now.
Okay.
I can see it. 19. I look at 19. I'm like, God damn it.
That's it?
Yeah. It needs to get down.
That's a
no.
very small number.
This number should be down at like 7, because then there's things that
it all fits on like one screen.
Yep.
Like you don't even have to click the arrow button or anything.
Now I'm down to 18.
Oh shit! What happened? What'd you do? Where did it go?
Delete. You push. You see what you do? You click the box on the left that says select, and then there's a trash can icon that says delete. You just do that.
What if you needed it?
That was a piece of junk mail.
Oh, it's just junk mail?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what do you feel like when you look at 1900?
It kind of reminds me that I could stand to be a little more organized.
Oh, so then you use it to like beat yourself up a little bit, punish yourself. You know better. Ooh,
I don't know.
Wow. So you've become your mom and your dad? Yeah, that's where I just took it.
Wow. I don't know. I don't have that kind of emotional response to it. It's kind of comforting to know that there's things there.
How?
That is weird. Like, so I've got the 4 email boxes because I have Gmail, of course. And so I've got the primary, then like social, and the other 2, whatever they are, updates and some other shit. I cleaned out those other 3. Like the primary one is full with the 19 whatever. And then the other 3 are empty now. And I look at them and then I click into them and I'm like, there really isn't anything in here? Because I like keep deleting the shit that I don't need. And it's like, there's so much shit I don't need.
So then why do you not just delete it?
In the other one?
I don't know. The 1900. The 1900.
Yeah, the 1900. I don't know. There's conversations that are still going on. I'm not quite sure where I want to put stuff, if I want to keep it or not. And I don't know. I haven't figured out a relationship with it. Like
so then what's the relationship that you do have with it? That's what I want to know. I get that you're confused on what to do with it, right? You don't know if I want to keep it, save it, file it into these things because it's ongoing. Yeah. I totally get that. And until you have that, you can't move on it. So then what's your relationship with it right now? Like, I'll tell you, like, again, when I look at 19, I'm like, that should be down to about 6 because there's 6 that are ongoing that are reminders for myself until I need to do it. And so I am... Because I had
only things you keep track of?
Because I had 13, because I had CLC yesterday and CLC this morning. I haven't essentially done emails for a day and a half besides deleting bullshit that's come in. So I look at it like, I'm behind. I have tasks and to-dos that I've not gotten done. So I look at it as I have a certain number or certain things that are.
I think I relate to it kind of like, this is my library. Like there's stuff in here that I can reference, I could look up, I could look back on, I could try and remember, and I find myself in conversations or thinking about things and like, oh yeah, what was that? And then I just try and do a search, and sometimes I find it, sometimes I don't. But if I don't have a library, then I'm like, I don't have any reference, and that's kind of scary to me.
Oh, so it's like a safety net. It's a library. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't have a need to make it any lower.
Wow. No.
Very
if somebody needs me, they know how to get a hold of me.
Huh.
And it's not through email.
Seriously. Okay. Well, that's cool.
That's interesting. Thanks for that. I didn't know that about myself. It's my library.
Yeah, it's your library.
I'm going to get rid of all the books on my shelf now.
Yeah.
Just send me a fucking email.
Just send an email to you.
There's probably more in there too, but we'll unpack that later. Send me an email about it.
Scared to. It'll be in your library.
That's funny. All right, what else we got?
You want to talk about our relationship?
Oh yeah, so I had this epiphany the other day.
Were you in the shower?
No, no. I was fully clothed, not wet, just sitting in my office having a conversation with somebody, and I realized, oh shit, like I have behaved in a way that I've taken on this idea that I need to protect you from being triggered and feeling embarrassed. And so part of what I do
I
is
appreciate it.
just take on a whole bunch of shit that isn't my responsibility, including
no, you're gonna delegate
how you feel.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I don't need to do that anymore. And so because what was also happening was I would get resentful that you would do things or not do things that would create an environment that now I have to manage and control because you're just going to embarrass yourself.
Oh, nice.
And it's just a fucked up story in my head. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to carry that anymore. And so I was like tasked with having this conversation with you. So I'm having it now, but I was like, just letting you in on what's going on with me.
Well, could you give me some substance to what you're talking about? Because I'm getting the concept of it, but that doesn't really tell me anything. You've been shielding me from being embarrassed. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know how or why or when or what, but is that of relevance?
I don't know, like specific situations. I don't fucking know. Like this happens a lot.
Don't try to not embarrass me. Embarrass me right now. Just do it.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to fucking think here. So, I mean, it was a big thing just for me to bring it up and talk to you about it. So,
well, that's really cool, but I still don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I get that you don't. And that's part of the story I have of you is that sometimes you just don't get it.
You're totally right. That is 100% true.
And so I try.
But what does that say about you?
Yeah, I'm a fucking dick. Like, yeah, it's weird.
So when was the last time that you tried to shield or mitigate how I saw or how I played with something because you thought he's not going to be able to handle it, or he's going to get embarrassed, or he's going to something? Was it this week?
No, it was last week.
Okay, what was it last week? You have an idea. You're just too scared to tell me. Come on. Conscious guys get laid more. We got to be conscious. If you don't tell me, I'm less conscious and I won't get laid. And now I'm blaming it on you.
This is not my responsibility to get you laid, dude. You are married and yeah.
Okay, so last week, what was it? I want to hear. I want to know.
Well, I know that this epiphany came at the end of last week. So I had to have done it at some point or multiple times that week. What the specific situations are. Let me think. Yeah, I'm thinking. So you can make your faces now as I think, jackass.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some thinking music on for us.
Let's see. So a lot of times in our Tuesday calls, there's moments where I think that. What is this?
This is your thinking music.
Jeopardy?
Yeah, you got 2 minutes.
Should I form it in the phrase of a question?
Yeah.
TV hits 3. Nice. Oh, dude, that's horrible.
That's funny.
That's really weird.
Okay, so what?
Like
so last week or Tuesday call. So our staff has a call on Tuesdays morning, and we go over tactical stuff. So what happened in that call?
I don't remember exactly what happened, but there's times where we're talking, having a conversation, decisions need to be made, and you'll throw out an idea or something, and I just think it's fucking stupid. I will, and it'll probably show on my face because I don't hide my emotions very well.
Well, you've got 2 emotions. One is mildly content, and it looks like this. And then one is pissed off and angry, and it looks like this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's good. And so other times I have other emotions, I hope. Okay, so or get disappointed.
What was the shitty idea that I threw out?
I don't fucking remember that one.
Come on.
I literally don't remember.
Okay. So if I throw out a shitty idea, and then what do?
And then sometimes, like, I have 2 choices, right? I can be disappointed in you for being stupid, or I can try and redirect or guide or distract from
the stupidity,
that idea, and
so I'm still stupid.
Offer something else.
So I'm still stupid either way.
Kind of,
Yeah, right.
And eventually, or I try and find how it's not so stupid and can lead to something better, or is actually part of a conversation that we may have already had. And so I do a lot of like mental juggling to figure out how to get from that to something that I think is productive.
And what's wrong with that?
It's more of the ground of being that I'm coming from, in the protectiveness rather than the collaborative creativity. So if I'm thinking you're stupid, if I'm disappointed in you, my energy is being used up to now quickly do something else rather than contribute and invite more creativity from you or from the rest of the team.
Okay. I got you.
Is it making a little more sense? Am I making a little more sense now?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's great. So if I heard you correctly, when you think I am dumb, you try to in whatever amount of ways, in a couple of different ways, try to shield me from my own stupidity while pushing the conversation forward.
Yeah. But I've got the actual idea now. Okay, this is great. All right, so I sent an email asking for your approval on hiring some support for the team in the form of graphic design and video design and ad expertise.
Right.
And then you sent back a bunch of stupid questions. And then I spent 6 hours writing an email to respond to you to avoid you feeling stupid and to avoid my putting my foot in my mouth and not like finding out the truth, right? I'm like just sorting through my initial disappointment, my irritation, my grumpiness, like, fuck, you should already know this, all this bullshit, right? All this judgment. And it came out with a really good email eventually.
Yeah, we went through it.
We went through that and it was great. And when I was able to move past this idea that I get that you're hung up on the you're stupid part, but it's more like I'm trying to protect the embarrassment because sometimes I think you're stupid.
Well, so why I say that is because I've heard you many times when you are in reaction, you think other people are stupid. And I think that you also have another added layer to in regards to me, because you do love me and we are friends and we are partners in trying to make the business grow, right? And so I think with the driver next to you, he's just a fucking idiot. Period. I don't love him. I'm not trying to understand why he's swerving into my lane. He's just a fucking idiot. Yeah. With Lindon, he's a fucking idiot. But I don't want him to feel that way because I do love the guy. So I'm less about like because you love me, because that's I mean, we could go into that part, but I think it's actually more about your ground of being. That's the uncomfortableness is like all of it would be dissolved if you didn't come from your stupid idea. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I could save them from themselves or not wouldn't even be a relevance. That's why I keep going back to it.
So you think underneath my need to save you is the fact that I think you're stupid?
Yes, correct.
Wow. There's times where I think you are, or times where I think you actually should probably know better, which is just my story, right? That's how I was brought up. I should just know better. Yeah. And I know how that feels.
Back to that first conversation that we had.
Yeah. And that's pretty shitty. So I'm gonna have to give that some more thought, because I get the value in what you've uncovered here. And I appreciate it. I also think that for the record, I don't think you're 100% stupid. And I mean that in a different way. Like I think there
99%.
there are things that you have a perspective on and an acumen for, and an ability and a capacity and a potential that far surpasses a majority of human beings, and I admire that a great deal. And then there's some things where I just wish you were
different,
better.
There's so much in this one.
Fuck, there is.
But you just so there's this idea of that, you know, people are stupid, and you have an anger. That's an easy go-to reaction for you, right?
Yeah.
Right. Then we also know that you and I have a great relationship, and I love you, you love me. That's we got that part. Yeah. And I think that you also, tangential to that, is you defend those that you love. Yeah. And part of your defending of those that you love, is also the defense of their emotional state.
Yeah.
Right. I want them to not feel upset or angry. This was like a conversation with Karen and her her conference calls. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't want to push my agenda of saying I'll figure out your technical problem here. Yeah. Because she would be upset and she wouldn't feel capable, and I don't want her to not feel upset and incapable of. So you're defending her own feelings of guilt or shame or whatever it is, right? Nice. So we also know you've got that. Yeah, that's really fun.
So this will come up over and over again.
That's really fun. Because I think what you also said at the very beginning, which I thought was great, and I didn't really see it, that if there was a problem, is you also take what you hear, whether you think that it's dumb or not, you take it to see if you can move it towards the direction of your desired outcome. And when I listen to that, I'm like, great leadership. That's what I see when I look at great leaders, is they have everything we're always nonstop herding cats. Yeah. So what do? Well, they're veering off hard right, and I just need to tweak them a little bit. Veering off hard left, I just need to tweak it a little bit, and so that it's at least moving. We're all moving in the general north direction here, folks. And so when I heard that part, it's like, that's great. But if your ground of being is still, this guy's a fucking moron, and now I'm wasting my time, and you know,
it's not joyous or fun.
Yeah, your emotional expense is super high on that. Then now I'm following why it's a issue or a problem. So I appreciate you bringing it up. I think that's really funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I don't mean funny like I'm making fun of you. I think it's funny. Like, isn't this wild? Just what this mind of ours does. It's just all.
It's pretty wild.
It's all made up, man. It's all made up.
I love that we can have this conversation. Whether 1, 2, or 1 million people listen to it, or it's just you and me.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
I think it is just you and me. I listen to him. You don't even listen to him. I listen to him.
Well, I lived it. Do I need to relive it?
No, you don't have to. Well, if you don't want to be dumb.
Doesn't make you.
No, I listen to it because I'm trying to understand how it sounds and how we talk and what's of interest. Like, if I listen to Joe Rogan and how his conversations continue to flow and are easy, and especially if there's somebody that's not flowing and it's not easy, how
fills the time,
how he fills in, and how he gets them to. This is the same thing, right? He's herding cats. He's like, wow, they're going off on a weird fucking tangent that's nowhere. So how do I do that? And I'm trying to listen to myself to see. So how did I do that? Did I not do that? That's why I listen to it.
Nice.
I also laugh. I also think
we're funny.
It's funny. Yeah. Yeah. It was the other day. So there's a lot of times when I'm walking around the house with one earbud in my ear, because I'm semi paying attention to if Grace is going to start crying or something.
Sure.
But it's kind of being quiet, and Cassie maybe do whatever, right? The Cassie's on a phone call, whatever it is, right? And I'll just start to laugh. And Cassie is such a big, she's got FOMO all over her, man. She's everything about her is like, what happened? What are you laughing about? What's going on? What's this? What's this? Right? It's so funny. So I'll laugh. And this is very tangential to it, but it's so what comes out of my mouth immediately is, I'm laughing at this podcast. But it doesn't satiate her, It also doesn't have her connect with me or me connect with her, even if it's not on something that she's talking about or interested in or whatever. And I'm starting to catch it and then say, okay, how would, like, let me give her the context. I'm listening to my podcast with Andy, and he just asked me about our sex life, and then I made a joke about our sex life, and I thought I was really funny. And then she's like, what was the joke? And I said, and then Andy asked this, and then I said this, and then she starts laughing. And then we have this really nice connecting moment. And then awesome. She goes off and back to her phone call or whatever it is, and then I'm back to listening. It's just, it's part of what I'm noticing is she's wanting to connect, and my shorthand, again, it's like another problem with shorthand. Yeah. My shorthand doesn't have her connect, and it also doesn't have me connect. And then I also don't get to even relive. It's like when we first said it, it was funny on the podcast. When I listened to it on the podcast, it was funny as well. And then if I say it even immediately right after I just heard it, I get to laugh again. So
imagine that. That's fucking cool. You said that something similar, like on one of our calls the other day, and you mentioned that we show up our best when we know what's going on in each other's heads. And so that connectivity and that connection is powerful.
100%. 100%. I think when you and I are butting heads and I feel like I'm fucking dragging you forward and you probably feel like, what the fuck is this idiot running our company for? Like, yeah, I think it's because we think we assume our ideas are like Venn diagramming over one another. And so it's like, well, why the fuck are you turning left if if we think the same here?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the same thing. Like, Andy, you just want another $6,000 for these people. There's no plan. What's the plan for it? Tell me the plan for it. So let me give you my shorthand. Can you describe a plan? Here's random questions to come do, because I'm in the middle of a full day fucking meeting. So answer the question. But then, because we're both essentially shorthanding each other.
You got to do the full stroke.
Yeah, I like the full up, full down. None of this little tip stuff. It's bullshit. That's bullshit. Only at the end. No.
Oh my God.
But then I think why I said that the other day, and a repeat of what you just said, is it forced you to write out that freaking enormously long email. Then we had the conversation about that enormously long email. And then from that, we both created the spreadsheet where we saw, hey, actually, we're fully aligned in what's needed. So what do we go do? Do we spend the money on this videographer person, or do we spend it over here? Or do we spend it, or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're like hand in hand, skipping down the road together.
Yeah. That's the best part.
That is the
hand
best
in
part.
hand. And the skipping.
And doesn't it feel, I mean, I'm assuming you're the same way just based on this conversation, but it so often feels like I'm going so slow to get people on board. Having the full slow context conversation to wrap you in, to then say, now can we take the one step forward? Okay. But I have to that's what I feel. I feel like it's, oh my gosh, we have to do this whole big thing to get the one step forward. But it's so both the emotional fulfillment of when we do take that step forward and the actual productivity of when we do take that step forward has that whole feeling of this is taking so long, the building of the context and how long it takes and all that stuff. Well worth it, right? This is why, productive learning, doing corporate work with people, when they say, hey, can you come do a half day for us? Can you come do one day for my executive team? Yeah, but what do you want? You guys all want to sing in unison afterwards? Like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, we have a process where we sing Kumbaya at the very end of that half day.
That'll be the only way that you can sing in unison.
We'll bring some holy water, sprinkle it on you, and then bless you and send you on your way, because it's about all you're going to get.
Right.
Good job.
But people think that it's such a short thing to get people aligned, but it doesn't. It's long, And for many times it feels grueling. It's
Mhm.
emotionally draining. It's mentally exhausting.
Mhm.
And all of that is the building up of their emotional intelligence and their emotional stability
Mhm.
and mental fortitude, so that we can then take the step forward. Because unless that's created, it's this like diverging cats.
Unless we become NLP masters and use that Bob Ross video and the
The suction cup TV
suction
antenna.
cup TV antenna.
Yeah, Cassie's gonna become an NLP master.
Oh, no doubt.
She's signing up sometime this year to do it.
She gonna take Grace?
That's what she's looking at. There's two different ones. There's one that's only three, like the intro course is a $300 course, and it's like 3 days down in San Diego.
Mhm.
But she said she would want to take Grace. And then there's this other one that's $5,000, 6 days somewhere else. And so she's calling up I think she's calling both of them and saying, why is this other company $6,000? And then she's calling up the $6,000. Why is this other company only $300? Like, she's going to go call them both, because after that part of the course, you have the same certification. So
doesn't make
much sense at all. So anyway, but then she's going to do that. And eventually we want to get her to be NLP master, and then actually she'll train our staff so that we can be all of us can be NLP certified.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Because we looked at putting all of us through an NLP certification. It's just super costly to do that. So why not put one person through who then has the credentials to then grant other people credentials? There we go. There we go.
You're so smart, dude.
Look at that.
You're so smart. When it comes to frugality and figuring that shit out,
and
you're
keeping boxers for 15 years.
Exceptionally smart.
Exceptionally smart. Oh, conquered that one.
Yep.
What was coaching? I don't remember. What did you have something on that?
You really enjoyed your coaching conversations this week, and I'm super curious about whether or not that was because you enjoy coaching conversations and the depth and the intimacy that's created in that one-to-one conversation, or are you just really proud of yourself as a coach and like you're just kind of laughing at your own jokes?
Both.
Nice.
It's definitely both. I definitely enjoy. I have grown a reputation as a provocative coach.
Which circles are you known for this in?
When I look in the mirror.
Oh, okay.
He tells me.
Tells you all the time.
Provocative, aren't you?
You're a provocative son of a bitch. Now go out there and make money. Because of the straightforward way in which I respond to people. Yeah. And I like that because I enjoy having those kinds of conversations. So there's an enjoyment, and the conversations that to me I'm having are just like what we were just having about with you. Like, fucking talk about it. I don't care. Tell me how stupid I am. I think it's hilarious. I'm going to tell you what you think of, like how you must. We're going to come to figure out how you must think that, and whether it's right or wrong, I don't care. I think that's funny. I think the humans are funny. I think they're weird, wild animals and creatures. And so the discovery of it and to state what is, I don't think people do, because I think that there's a lot of like shortcutting, and I don't want to hurt their feelings, and I don't want to say the thing, and I don't want to point out the emotion that they just had because that could embarrass them. It's like, no, you just had an emotion. What's that emotion? Oh, that's fear. Nice. You just great. Like that to me is, it's refreshing to have that conversation. Like the conversation we just had, this whole podcast, I feel is that way. It's like, it's just refreshing to have honest, open conversations. And in my coaching with these executives that I work with, I get to have that nonstop. I get to tell them that they're fucking idiots, and they're way more,
smart, intelligent, make way more money, run bigger companies and organizations. And I could tell them like, hey, you're an idiot. And they're like, oh my God, you're right. You're like, yeah. I mean, anybody can see it. Nobody's telling you. I don't know why. It's like the what is it?
It's fucking obvious.
Yeah. It's like what is it? The king doesn't, what's it?
The Emperor's New Clothes.
The Emperor's New Clothes. Yeah. So it's enjoyable in that way. And then it's also very rewarding where I feel proud is when I watch these people move from A to B to C in their life. And that is awesome. Like, fuck yeah. I feel like I invested that, and then I got to watch that thing grow, and that was cool. I got to see this thing take off from a seedling.
It's like compounding interest.
It totally is.
Yeah. Fourth
wonder of the world. I don't know.
That's what she said.
Yeah. What did we say earlier? The unit.
Another inside joke.
Yeah. Another inside. You can email Andy at Productive Learning to understand the insight. Hey, and I don't think, did anybody ever email you a picture of themselves for nannying?
No.
Bummer. If you are interested in being a nanny or a house help, email Andy. I don't know what they're called. What is it called? Personal assistant. House cleaner / cook.
Chef.
But they're also cleaning.
You do the dishes?
So there's a person that we're looking for.
Oh, do you think they'll pass your dishwashing test? I hear that's really difficult.
It is difficult because I like them clean. I mean, it doesn't seem that difficult. The standard's like, is it clean or not? But for some people, if we just move the piece of dried rice from the left side of the plate to the right side, they think it's clean. No, motherfucker. It's got to be off the plate. No remnants of it. I want to smell soap is what I want to smell on the dish.
That's good to know.
What were we talking about? Yeah, so I feel proud. I feel proud with when I get to see that people are transforming their lives and they're happier and making more money and stuff like that. It's really cool. I do wish. So Tony Robbins, I figured out why Tony Robbins makes so much money. Oh my gosh.
NLP, for sure.
NLP, exactly.
Yeah. And he's got thousands and thousands of people in one event.
That's true, but I calculated how many events he has and the revenue that he brings in, and it's not that much. He's that business is anywhere from a $30 to $50 million business. Okay, but that's it. Well, yes, that's it. Just a $30 million business.
That's a first sale.
No, that's all of them.
That's all.
I tried to put them. I did a big calculation of what I assumed all of them were, and that could be totally off. I don't fucking know, but this is what I assumed. But that also has to do with all kinds of expenses and all kinds of stuff. So it's not like he's taking personally home $30 million.
No.
But what he's doing is when you continue to go through his different courses and graduate from this one to this one to this one to this one to from A to B to C to D, if you want to just go all the way to D, or if once you get to D and you want his team to help execute your business, you pay what I think it's like $10,000, and then you get X amount of coaching sessions with his team, and then he gets 30% stake in your business. So he's been doing this for 40 or 45 years. And let's say that he hasn't been doing that 30% of the business for 45 years. Let's just say he's been doing it for 20. Let's say that he has 10 people every year that say, yeah, let's do it. So for 20 years, 10 people each year, he's invested. He has an investment, an equity stake of roughly 30% in 200 businesses.
Nice.
So he's bringing in all this recurring revenue over here. While yes, he makes a salary in whatever he does for Tony Robbins International or whatever the company's name is.
He's definitely out of the rat race.
He's definitely out of the rat race. Yeah, definitely out of the rat race. I wonder if he's going to run for president.
You mentioned that a couple of episodes ago.
Did I mention it a couple of episodes ago?
Yeah. Would you vote for him?
Yeah. Right now I would.
Nice. He didn't even have to NLP you.
No. I wouldn't. He already did.
He already did.
He already did.
You're part of the cult.
Yeah, I have the antenna in the back of my head. It's just very small.
Connected to the matrix right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I would vote for him, but you know what? We had other actors run and become presidents of our
Yeah, I don't like any of them.
Yeah. So that was my coaching conversation.
Cool. That's great.
Tell me about small group conversations processes by
Oh,
others.
this is funny. This is so funny. So I'm in like, I don't know, 4 small groups that have conversations weekly or bi-weekly.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot.
You're a
of
workshop junkie.
It's a lot of conversations. Jeez.
No wonder you don't get anything done at work.
Yeah, I don't get anything done.
Ooh, that's a button. I just pushed that button.
That's great.
When you're at Anza this weekend, you're just going to drink to that. That motherfucker, dumbass boss of mine.
Yeah.
You don't even have anything to say.
It's because it's just a bold-faced lie.
Okay, so anyway, go ahead. So you're in 4 different groups. Some talk weekly, some are bi-weekly.
Yeah. And so this one particular conversation, I'm in a small group with David and Ed. We've been having conversations for 6 years.
Yeah.
On a bi-weekly and weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And the last couple of months, I've noticed that as they're supporting me in my conversations and what I'm sharing about and working to process me, that they're along the way, they're like asking me, so what do you think would be the next question to answer, Andy? And I'm like last week, I came out after this conversation and was telling Karen that part of the story. And then I asked her, like, am I just that big of a grumpy asshole that people can't really ask me questions, that they need to like give it back to me to figure out my questions?
What was her response?
She's all, yeah, you're that kind of an asshole. And I'm like, great, good to know. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then I went back to David and Ed and shared that with them, and they laughed. They laughed their asses off. It was funny.
That's awesome.
It is really cool. But it's interesting that each of us, like, as I'm considering the way David and Ed learn and the way they grow and the way the questions they respond best to and those kinds of things, they are very different than the questions that I respond to. And I'm just considering all the other workshops I've been in, all the other people that I've met, and seeing people get triggered, seeing you get triggered, seeing all of those things, and how valuable it is to understand yourself so well that the people processing you go to you for the questions to ask you. Like, that's something special. You're not laughing. I think it's kind of funny.
That was a joke?
That was kind of a joke. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, you think you're special because they're asking you that? So, okay. So we're on the same joke. You're just dry humor. You just Ben Steined me, and I didn't even know you were joking.
It was a joke.
That was good.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah, I was going to say, because I think they do it out of fear. I think they say.
I do. I start shutting down when I feel defensive or put upon or don't understand like the intent of the question and stuff.
100%. 100%.
I do, or everybody does.
I do. Are a good example of what a lot of people do. I mean, I do too. Yeah. I do too. Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, going back to our conversation about that slow building of context.
Yeah.
You know, if I in my short, quick email of like, just tell me what is the outcome that this investment's going to do, your immediate response is, what the fuck? Of course you know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
But then once we draw it out and have this long context and look at the long term and the short term and the midterm, projections of what this is, then you're not in reaction. You're like, that was a good meeting. Now we understand what we need to go for. So here's our next step.
Yeah.
But I think that's with everybody. I think we're just, I wonder, it's not that I don't think that people are in less or more reaction than they were, 100 years ago or 200 years ago. But I do wonder what running a business would have been like in the 1800s. Like imagine it was 1785, so we're 10 years into this idea of the United States, and we're a little business on the East Coast, and the only way to correspond with people is you walk or ride your horse there, or you send mail, and that mail from this town to a town that's 40 miles away could take, I don't know, could take a week, handful of days to get there and a handful of days to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And so your ability to get something and think on it,
mm-hmm.
and then have to come up with the response, and then write out the concept and the where you're going and why you're doing it, and then move forward. I wonder what that shift in pressure of time versus now, when people send you an email, like most companies and people like are expecting an email and a response within 24 hours. If people don't get an email or response, I think within 24 hours, people start to be like, did they get my email? Should I send another follow-up? Is there something going on? I think that's fairly normal. And so I think even people have a hope or an expectations. I don't know. I do. Like when I send an email, I'd love to just get the email back right now so I could just move and get that next thing done.
I think I have a little bit different on some things. Like when I get an email and I don't have an answer, or I'm not sure what to do, or I don't have a decision in that moment, that's part of the reason I build my library. I'm just not going to think about this. I don't have a response right this minute. So just save it here.
Yeah, I totally get it. I like I've never thought of my archived emails as a library. I look at it like a task and to-do list.
Yeah, that sounds like shit. That sounds horrible. But anyway, back to the letter thing. That's neat. Like that.
That shifting of amount of pressure of time.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have to write out longhand
and dip a quill in some ink,
and then put it into a letter, seal it,
and
put
write
it
in
into
cursive?
the mail, and then have it go by horseback to the next town.
And then do the wax thing and with the stamp.
That'd
be cool.
Very strange idea to the speed, the rate at which where information flows.
Yeah.
Just wild.
The amount of people that were literate back then, so the number of people corresponding was probably less too.
Way less.
Percentage wise?
Way less. I mean, the amount of people that had a high school education, I want to say is like 10% or less.
Yeah.
And now it's 92% or more.
Yeah.
I don't know why I put 2 on there. The total guess.
It's
hey
probably
Siri,
pretty good.
What percentage of U.S. citizens have a high school education or higher?
Okay, I found this on the web for what percentage of U.S. citizens
First time
have a high
U.S.
school
history,
education
90%
or
of
higher.
the population.
Check it out.
In 2017, it's 90% of the population.
Wow.
Ooh, I was like spot on.
That's pretty cool. Is that 90% of the total population? So only 10% or less of the population is
high school completion rate. So
okay, so high school are over. So they're of that age, right?
I think it's just saying I guess you would have to say like it probably takes it by 18 and older.
Okay. That makes sense.
Age 20. Oh, here it is. Age 25 or older.
Oh, okay.
So they give you extra time or whatever just to make sure that
nice. You could go back and
complete it.
Get a certificate?
A GED.
GED. Yeah. That's impressive for people to go back and do those things like after the fact. That's pretty awesome. Who's that?
I don't know. Oh. Someone from Arizona calling me.
Cool. Anyway, what else is on our list? That was fun.
We wrote world peace. Why did we write world peace?
Oh, we solved world peace. You're supposed to check that off.
Oh, I checked. Yeah, we did it. I don't need to ask about house hunting. We'll ask about it next time because you're going to Anza right now.
Going to fucking Anza, dude. I'm getting to learn how to drive 4-wheel drive, get stuck, and then get out.
Whilst pulling your trailer, your teardrop.
Yeah, because I tipped that bitch over once.
First time.
First time for everything.
Take videos. I want to see what this is like.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell Karen. That'd be cool.
And then when we go out, I want you to
Teach you stuff?
Yeah, teach me what you've learned.
All right.
Because I can't.
Teach you how to Dougie?
Yeah, because
I
I
don't know
can't
how to
assume
do
that our trailers are too very different. I mean, once there's a general idea of towing a two-wheeled trailer behind you, there's.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
I've only driven that thing from
South?
From Copperopolis to here, and then over
Copperopolis.
Copperopolis, California. It's a place, folks. It's a place. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Cool.
Yeah, I drove it south, and
Nice.
I backed it into the RV lot stall that we have,
Been there ever since.
and that's it. And then I think a couple weeks later we had Grace, and I've not gone over there.
Do you have power on that bitch?
Huh?
Nice.
There's a battery back there. Yeah.
Cool. Does it charge? Do you have a solar panel?
It doesn't. I don't have a solar panel. But it has the hookups, I believe, for it. If I recall.
Oh, okay. Do you have to undo the battery at all to
I
make sure it
undo
doesn't-
it. So yes, I undo it because they said that they could never find on the manual that they have,
Mhm.
there is a master shutoff,
Oh,
but they could never find it. So
Oh.
they said, we don't know why. Maybe this was a weird one and that got built or something. So they unplugged the
battery.
the
terminal.
battery, yeah, at the terminal,
Hmm.
or one of them, or both of them, or something like that. So
Mhm.
that's what I've done, or that's what I did when I dropped it off 4 months ago, because I haven't been there since. There's been so many. I think I've picked up the guitar once in the last 4 months. No, maybe twice. Honestly, I think it's been
You play a
twice.
song for grades?
No.
Wow. Just reading. Reading's more important. Literacy,
I
number
read,
one.
Yes, read to Grace every night, but I've not picked up the guitar. I've not gone over to the camper, the trailer. We keep calling it camper because we had a camper.
Mhm.
We have a trailer now. We're a trailer company, or trailer family. There's something else I was gonna say. Oh, up until like a couple of weeks ago, I hadn't gone mountain biking. I hadn't gone mountain biking for almost 2.5, almost 3 months.
Damn.
I gone running.
Yeah.
For
With
whatever
a
reason.
weight vest.
With a weight vest.
Who
yes.
does that? This guy.
Me and Chris Schleich. I went out
Yeah.
with Chris Schleich once.
I heard you almost killed him.
Yeah, he puked. Well, he tried to puke. He couldn't
He
puke.
couldn't puke.
He probably would have felt better if he puked. We were just running up a hill. It was the first hill. It was the first hill, and it was early in the morning. And he just put it on, and I'm just charging. And I'd been running for a while, right? So I'd already had been building up stamina, and I think he hadn't been running for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months or something. And then he just tried to keep up with me. I wasn't really thinking, and I was just starting to run. And then he's like, "We got to stop." Whoops. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
That had to make you feel good.
He hasn't invited me back again.
Just gotta get up to your level.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Whatever. All right.
All right, buddy.
Cool, guys.
Good episode.
Absolutely. Hope you guys get laid more.
Hope you get laid more. Be conscious about it.